team, it's great to see you. Even though I can't see you, you can see me and hopefully hear me. What I wanted to be able to do is, rather than put this in an email, is just share with you my thinking about how we move forward beyond June the 1st into what is going to be our new normal. Now, understandably, there is a significant amount of anxiety amongst our profession. We haven't been helped, I think, with very ill-choiced media coverage, and perhaps some of the authorities that we were expecting haven't maybe done what we expected from them. However, we are where we are, and I hope that you trust my leadership and my integrity to get what's right for us. I want to make this really clear to you that this is about your safety first. It is of absolute paramount so that we can be safe for our children. I've given this a huge amount of thought, and I hope that you've all received the email that has said that I'm not going to make any decisions until June the 14th about how we move forward. And the reason for that is because this is a very, very huge task. It's going to take lots of us, but most of all, it's going to take you. So just give me a couple of minutes of your time as I talk through my thinking, and so that at the end of this you will feel a little bit more informed, a little bit more prepared, and hopefully a little bit more behind me about how we move forward. So this has been my thinking. I see where we are as 3 phases. You'll see in the blue phase is phase 1, and that's where we currently are now. This is the phase of lockdown that took place from March until May. And during this time, team, we have done a significant amount during phase 1. We have redefined our offer of supporting our children online and offline, providing some on-site provision for vulnerable children, and of course supporting families off-site. We've really been clear about keeping the quality of engagement with our families and supporting our families. We've also managed to set up Hovingham's community boxes. So phase 1 has been about our offer. We are just about to move into what I am considering to be phase 2, and this is where we are partially opening. And this phase will last through May, June, July and August. And can I just be really clear, when I'm saying August, I'm not saying that teachers are going to be working during the summer. What I'm saying is that our school, as you know, it does function during that time as well. And during phase 2, that's when we will absolutely need to meet the demands of the Department for Education, which is to increase more opening, partial opening around there. But the most important phase, colleagues, is phase 3. I can't stress to you now that that's where our thinking needs to be. This isn't about phase 2, about getting some more children in now, as the government have sort of indicated to us. This is about me taking you with me on this thinking that our new normal is going to be very different. There is not going to be a flick of a switch that we go back to how we left school back before pre-phase 1. This really is about working towards a new normal in September and beyond. One thing that's very true is that Covid-19 is still here. It isn't going away, and it's not going into the woodworks. Now, if the government do announce in August that it's gone away and we just carry on as normal, then that's great, because we know how to do normal. We certainly don't know how to do phase 3. So all of my thinking and my planning is working towards getting us ready for phase 3. So we're in phase 1 now, lockdown. Our offer is there. We're very clear about how we've worked towards doing that, and I thank you. That is down to you, team. I said to you at the very beginning of this lockdown, if there was ever a team I wanted to be with, it was you, and we've done it, and we have done some significant work, and really great work, great teamwork as well, and we're now moving there. Now, one of my most striking thoughts as I've been in school, and I've met with people and spoken about to people, is that we have to get the health and safety right during phase 1. If we don't get that bit right first, then we can't really move on to phase 2 well, and we can't really then move on to phase 3. So I've spent some time trying to get you familiar with what phase 1 changes will be, and there are some changes, team, that I would like to share with you. All of my decision making about moving through these phases are based on principles, because principles are what keep you going. They're the guide, they're the compass that you need. So at Hovingham, the leadership, and this is supported by all of us and governors, strongly believe that any decisions that we make to reopen school will be guided by the following principles. The first one is the safety of our children and our staff is absolute paramount. Every single decision I make will be based on that. This includes their mental, emotional and physical well-being. The second point about our principles is that this national crisis that we are in has affected our children and our teens' daily lives in countless ways. We've all had to move. Therefore, any decisions that we made together will have to be under the values of being supportive, compassionate, and listening to understand each other's challenges that we face, and of course the challenges of our community. It's only by gaining the confidence of staff and parents and children that our school will be able to open successfully and being able to move to that planned phase 3 of new normal, and that's really important to me. I know that the great work that's ahead of us in these next few months to get to our new normal will only happen if you feel confident, and that's what I aim to do in phase 2. If I know you're confident, then I know that you can instill that confidence in our children and families so that they can return safely to school. A principle that is that as we move through each of these planned phases and we have reams of plans and we work towards our new normal, we have to accept that we need to be proactive, responsive and adaptive, and we also need to know that our planned intentions that we have will change. And that's the world that we're in, folks. Things are changing day to day, and that's okay. For some of us who like to control these measures, that's really hard. For some of us who are really quite happy with that, that's okay. And I know that we're all different, but I promise to think about change management as we move through these phases. Finally, this is imperative. Hovingham's offer of education and family support is precious and essential. So whatever decisions we make to move forward through our phases, we must continue to offer the high quality learning and the high quality family support. So these 5 principles are everything that I'm making every key decision around, and I really would like you to engage with those and understand them. And I'm sure that you will appreciate that that's what's going to make this successful. So here we are. This is the shift team. If you have a look at this picture, this is kind of what we used to, a bit of informality, a bit of stand there, a bit of do this, quite like the circles on the floor. If you go to a sophisticated supermarket, they might have some bright yellow tape, but really as a society, that's what we've kind of had to do with quite quickly. We had to amend quite quickly about the adjustments that we've made as a team. But because you are public sector workers and we are, our community has to rise up as a sector and meet the needs of our families, we've got to get used to one thing. We absolutely have to get used to formality. We have to get used to very clear health and safety guidance that we all have to adhere to. We have to be very familiar with the new way of working under Covid-19. We together have to make that change. If we make that change, it will be easier for our children. And that change takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. Not like it did with the lockdown, that's for sure. So team, as we move into phase 2, which is a nice little green circle there, the purpose of phase 2 is to build and develop your confidence as a team so that you feel confident to come into work, that you feel confident that the decisions that have been made are for the right reasons and that the way we've made decisions are what's going to work for us. Phase 2 is going to be about shaping and planning the way we work together in our new normal. It is going to be the detail. It is going to be considering what home visits look like. Remember, that's precious to us. To what lunchtimes look like, because that's an essential part of our day. So all of those decisions we're going to make together. From June the 2nd, we must increase our provision for vulnerable children. That is an absolute directive from the Department for Education. And we must secure that and ensure that more vulnerable children are accessing provision in school. And during phase 2, we must be ready for phase 2 and phase 3, getting ready for our new normal. But the most important part of phase 2 is knowing that this isn't just for now. This isn't to get us to the end of the summer. This is about getting ready for September and the year ahead, because it is not going to be the year that we're used to. So what do you need to do now? Well, most importantly, you need to rest up next week, team. You have been truly and utterly amazing. Your support, your emotional support, and the teamness and the glue between us is absolutely amazing, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you have done for us. It has been an absolutely stonking of a term, so please take a rest next week. There's absolutely no need for calling families and those things. Be with your families and take a need. I thank so much for those staff that have offered and the teaching team to come in next week to help with the community boxes. I really thank you for that time and those hours that you're giving up. It's really, really valued and appreciated. And I really do want you all to make sure you have a good half term. That's priority number 1. Other bits and bobs that you can do for me to help me get ready is please complete the workforce planning survey, which is on the cloud and will be on the link on the cloud this week. Please also read the guide that I will be sharing with you on the cloud as well. The guide is Hovingham's response to Covid-19. It is essential that you read the guide, but you also click that you've read it, because if not, I'm sure Rishka and I will be chasing you up to say you've read it, so please make sure you do that, team, as well. It's important that you digest all of the information on there. It really is. There's all of the risk assessments and all of the considerations. When you've read that, that means you're ready to enter at phase 2, which means that from June the 1st to June the 15th are the 2 planning weeks that I've got planned for phase 2. This is when we do start making some decisions together. This is when we do start thinking about September and we get those things on board. So from next Thursday, you will be sent out, there will be guidance about how the staffing and who's in and who's out during those 2 weeks and what that's going to look like. But I didn't want to overwhelm you with that now. I wanted you to enjoy the bank holiday weekend. I wanted you to enjoy the weather, and most of all, I wanted to say thank you. God bless, keep safe, and I'll see you all very soon.